Good evening, brothers and sisters. How are you today? Hope all is well. So I'm re-recording the um, video that was down towards the bottom of this announcement page, finding out more and more that Jing does not work as well or at all in iLearn 3. So I'm making a new video and hopefully that will work. Maybe it worked for you, but it hasn't worked for me. And so um, we're going to re-record this. And so hope it works. So when you first get in this class, you're going to notice the announcements. And so each week when you go into the announcements, you're going to at least see something like an introduction to the week and something that's going on in the class that you need to know about. That's where this will go. The other thing that will be here in the announcement that will start in week 3, I believe, is groups and group placement. And that will have another video that will go along with that. I'll kind of show a little bit about that here, but more or less that's going to be um, in a few weeks that I'll show that video. So you'll just be able to come here and be able to look at that. There's no way for you to go through here and post anything to me. So you can go through email if you'd like, but I'm also going to try to make a place in questions and conversations for that to happen as well. So let me show you this right here. When you go to your name, if you go to notifications, it gives you an opportunity to have things sent to you dealing with the class and especially dates, for instance, due dates. So for instance, here's a Dropbox folder, due date or end date is 2 days away. So if you want to go to email or to text, it'll text you or email you telling you that in 2 days there's a Dropbox assignment. Excuse me. If you want to look at new posts in your discussions that you've subscribed to, you can have an email sent to you. And the other thing too is that quizzes, it'll show you when quizzes have an end date of 2 days away, and it will email you or text you or both. That's up to you how you'd like to do that. And so I would probably recommend doing something like that. Okay, so let's go to content, and this really is where the class is located. Let's say, for instance, if you go to overview, you'll notice a picture of me, information about the course, how to get started, and a little bit of information about me as well. There is an iLearn 3 tour that I would very highly recommend. It helps you understand a little bit more about iLearn 3, and I'm going to go through some of that, kind of help you get some more information. But at least I would go through some of these items to help you out a little bit, and I'll give other videos as well as about group work and stuff like that as well. So for instance, if you go to lesson 1, introduction, you'll notice that it really follows what you need to do. So the first thing I would do is go to welcome to foundations, and it's loading up here. Kind of gives you a little overview of what's going on. If you take this little arrow here, it'll take you to the next item in the table of contents, especially for lesson 1. So the course outcomes are right here. Next, you can just again go straight through here, and it gives you the questions and conversations. Here, as you'll notice, there's responses to different questions or different ideas, or a lot of times I'll put in here current events, things to talk about. If you have questions, you can put this in here as well, or if you want to answer the questions from the announcement page, you can most definitely start a thread and stick it in here. There's no problem with that as well. This is kind of a place, kind of a meeting place for all of us. If you have questions or just want to talk about certain issues or items or whatever it might be. The discussions will be located under the discussions tab. And for instance, if we go to questions and let's go to discussion board. It's the introduction discussion. And again, once you go in here, For instance, Alice, if I go into Alice here and I want to say something to Alice, I can reply to thread. And I can say, hello, how are you? How are we going? You know, I'm from Maryland as well, or whatever. And then hit post. If you want to subscribe to your thread, so every time somebody posts something to your thread, you can subscribe here. And every time somebody subscribes to that, or to threads to that, or post to it, it'll show up right here. Okay? It'll show up here as a subscription alert. Okay, let's get out of here. Well, actually, quizzes. You can see the current quizzes that have come to you already, and we'll talk about that later. The calendar is something that you probably ought to know about a little bit. So if, for instance, there's the first day starts tomorrow, and then if you go to, this tells you what open, at least for me, I have an open lab for something that I'm teaching. If you go to the next week, excuse me, then you should be able to see at 8 a.m. there is discussion board due, syllabus quiz due, and pretest due. Okay. Most everything now has a Monday morning at 8 a.m. due date. That's something that you should know about. And you can look at this calendar and you have all that as well. You can go to grades here and look at your grades, get all the information you need from there. And most of the other stuff is just for me, so you don't need to worry about that kind of stuff. Let me show you discussions really quick, and I'm going to talk to you about discussions when you do your discussion as a group. Okay, and so we'll go through this again, but I just kind of want to give you a little idea. So let's say, for instance, you're in group 1 in lesson 5. Now you won't see all of these here because that's for me, but let's say that you're in group 1. Okay, so if you go here to group 1 and you start a new thread, you're going to get prompts in your discussions that I'll show you here in a second. But what you're going to do is you're going to say prompt 1 is, so you could put prompt 1 or question 1 or whatever, and then put what the question is. Okay, what is, if I could type correctly, what is there about that you believe in? Okay, and then what you're going to do is you're going to hit post, and it's going to create a post for you. Okay, right here. Oh, let's oh, let me put something here. Blah. Okay, let's try this, see what happens. Okay, so now this shows up, and what you'll do is as you will go in as a group, and you will reply to this thread or this post. Okay, does that make sense? And we'll go through it more. Now let's say I want to delete this thread. I can delete this thread, and I'll delete that later. It's not that big a deal. Okay. Okay, let's go now to the content area again. And let's go, for instance, through lesson 2. Okay, so if you go here to prepare, it tells you some things that you need to know for class, like do some readings, that kind of stuff. The readings should be located here. Everything you need to know about the reading. I would very highly read this. Take notes, because you can use the readings and your notes on the quiz, on the exams. Something you can watch, the Stamp Act. The teach one another. Here's where your discussion prompts will come in. Kind of what I showed you about. um, that you're going to do the prompts in the discussion boards. So for instance, as a group, you would say discussion prompt 1, if that's what you want to do, and then put this in there so that everybody can post to it. Here's the items that you need to do for the discussions. For instance, in this lesson, in lesson 2, there is a journal activity, and that you're going to find that information here on that journal activity. Okay. Again, we'll talk more about groups a little bit later. And again, the groups would then start a new thread here. If this was, let's say, for instance, lesson 3, you would put start a new thread, and the group leader, which we'll talk about later again, would put in, here's the prompt for this question. I'm going to start a new thread for the prompt for this question, and that kind of stuff. So they want to kind of get you to think about it a little bit, even though you don't necessarily need it at this time. So I know it's kind of long video, and you may be still a little confused, and that's fine. We will go through more things in the future. If you have questions, please email me, or specifically go to the questions and conversations tab. That way you can ask a lot of questions, and not only will you get it answered, but other students will help you also get it answered as well, because they may know the answer and help you, or everybody needs to know that answer and nobody knows it, and then everybody can know it at the same time instead of me having to email everybody. So good luck, and I'll see you in class.